Next stop, a crash course in everything you need to know about this best-selling novel and its film adaptation.
I saw her from the train.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 5 most interesting facts you probably didn't know about the girl on the train.
Tell me the truth.
Number 5, movie adaptation was considered before the novel was released.
That was a very shocking experience to hear that DreamWorks were interested. But so yeah, fingers crossed we will see it on screen one day.
Best-selling novels are a go-to source for Hollywood movie producers looking to make their next hit film. Basically, if a book sells really well, it'll likely get the silver screen treatment. This particular novel was exceptional, however, as the rights to the film were optioned before readers even knew it existed, and long before it proved its worth by selling millions of copies.
We developed it as a film before it ever became a bestseller, and we woke up one morning and, oh my gosh, the book exploded. So sort of win-win all around.
Jared LaBeouf, a producer with Mark Platt Productions, received an advanced ebook of the novel from the author's agent and immediately saw its potential. By the time the book hit shelves, the screenwriter charged with adapting the material, Erin Cressida Wilson, had already turned in her first draft. Apparently, Mr. LaBeouf knows a good book when he sees one.
And I think that takes a great deal of trust to sort of hand over your baby to these Hollywood people and hope they don't ruin it.
Number 4, it was the first novel released under the author's own name.
I'm not romantic and I'm not funny either, so romantic comedy was just not the sort of thing I should be writing.
Paula Hawkins is arguably one of the hottest names in fiction thanks to the success of this novel. The Girl on the Train is being marketed as her debut psychological thriller, but before taking this ride into the uncharted territory of dark, gritty amnesiac thrillers, Hawkins had already published a number of novels under the pen name Amy Silver.
Well, I'd written 4 novels under a pseudonym, and they were kind of romantic fiction.
Before you rush out to buy all of her previous work, you should know that Amy Silver's books bear little resemblance to The Girl on the Train. They're easily digestible, fun stories that one might describe as chick lit, with names like Confessions of a Reluctant Recessionista and 1 Minute to Midnight.
An editor at Cornerstone in London had this idea that they wanted someone to write sort of a chick lit kind of novel.
They didn't sell very well, but the few reviews they did receive were actually quite positive, at least in terms of their genre.
And the last one just sank without trace, and I was kind of broke. I needed to either get a real job or make a go of writing, so this felt like the last roll of the dice.
Number 3, Emily Blunt's too pretty for the role.
I look awful in the movie, and I look like a ghoul. I think it's I think that any concern people had that I might not look right for it, I think will be put to bed.
The role of Rachel Watson is not an easy one. In fact, some have called her flat out unlikable. While Paula Hawkins personally feels that her character is sympathetic, even she draws the line at casting a natural beauty like Emily Blunt in the role.
In all the land, my lady, you are of course the fairest of them all.
I knew it.
The character of Rachel is defined largely by her self-loathing and self-consciousness as her alcoholism takes over her life. She's hit rock bottom but still tries to hold on to what she used to have.
And then I went to visit my husband.
You mean your ex-husband?
Allegedly, the makeup team and stylists had to go out of their way to downplay Blunt's beauty in order to get that disheveled, beaten-down look. And they studied the skin of alcoholics for inspiration, and even giving her cheek puffers to get that authentic puffiness. Despite her reservations, Hawkins does feel that Blunt delivered an extraordinary performance.
It sort of revealed something about the character that you didn't necessarily see on page. She's fantastic, she's outstanding.
Number 2, it became one of the fastest-selling novels in history.
That voyeuristic impulse is universal. I think we all do that. We all like to sit on the train and look at other people's houses.
Within a month of its release in early 2015, The Girl on the Train had sold 1 million copies. Sales figures the likes of which Hawkins had never seen as her alter ego rom-com writer Amy Silver. By August 2016, the book had sold over 11 million copies worldwide. Just 2 months later, in the days leading up to the film's release on October 7, 2016, that number had jumped to 15 million.
She was with this man.
Trailers for the movie were only adding to the book's success, causing sudden spikes in sales. All in all, this novel has spent 83 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list and held the top spot on the UK hardback book chart for a record-breaking 20 weeks.
Makes you feel a bit vulnerable when you realise that there's so many people in the world who have the book and have opinions about it and that kind of thing, so it's quite frightening.
Number 1. Paula Hawkins was broke when she sent the unfinished manuscript to her publisher.
I know I wrote about half the book,
Right.
and I sold it on the partial because I needed the money.
None of Hawkins' books under the name Amy Silver was ever very financially successful. In fact, Hawkins has said that The Girl on the Train was her last attempt as a fiction writer. She had borrowed money from her father to get by while writing it. So if it proved unsuccessful, she was likely going to throw in the towel.
I had a really great response straight away, so phew, that was a big relief.
But even with help from family, she couldn't afford to finish the book and submitted the incomplete manuscript. Thankfully, publishers loved it, and what began as a last-ditch roller coaster ride to financial viability turned into a runaway freight train of success. In 2016, Hawkins made $10 million as a writer, earning a spot on the Forbes list of highest-paid authors, alongside George R.R. Martin and J.K. Rowling.
I hope that will give the readers what they want.
Do you agree with our list? Which of these The Girl on the Train facts did you find most interesting?
Myself.
For more fascinating top 10s and tantalizing top 5s, be sure to subscribe to MsMojo.